Who is the second descender? Welcome back to Genshin with Amabi. I'm here with a new crack theory. I think it could be the Tsaritsa. Hear me out. The Tsaritsa who is currently on the throne of Snezhnaya is not the original Cryo Archon. She actually took over afterwards. Venti tells us that he used to know the Tsaritsa very well up until 500 years ago when something happened and she changed completely. She asked all the gods to get together to address the Conria thing, and they said no, and she kind of withdrew from them all. And up until this point, I kind of assumed that it was the Cataclysm. 500 years ago, it lines up perfectly, but what if it goes back further than that? Piero tells us that this chessboard is just the beginning, so collecting the Gnosis is the first step in whatever the Tsaritsa's plan is. We now know that the Gnosis are the remains of the third descender, and the Tsaritsa is very speculatively the god of love. But she has no love left for her people, and she has kind of turned into a cold-hearted figure. But why? There is one great story of love in Genshin that we do not have a lot of resolution on, and that is the story of the second descender and the Seelie. So if you didn't know, the Seelies that we follow around were once great majestic beings. But one of the Seelie race fell in love with the second descender. And this is a lot of in-game text lore. So the Seelie very likely fell in love with the second descender. The second descender is the one who challenged the heavenly principles and lost, unfortunately. But what I find really interesting is the second descender is probably still alive, because the Seelie, they were kind of punished, but the Seelie that fell in love with the second descender, both their memories were eradicated and they forgot about each other, and the Seelie race fell to what they are now. But who is the second descender? I think a lot of people think it might have been Alice, and that Clea is maybe the child of the Seelie race, and that is a really common theory. But I'm here to propose that it's actually the Tsaritsa, and she forgot all of this until the Cataclysm. When she realized who she was, that is why the Tsaritsa is collecting the Gnosis. That is perhaps why the Tsaritsa knew the third descender. And it would explain why love is so heavily tied into the Tsaritsa's story, because she both lost the memory of love and love itself when it was taken from her for the Seelies, and when Conria was destroyed. Because the Tsaritsa is kind of gathering people from every nation who don't really believe, which is what Conria about. Conria was a godless nation that didn't follow any of the Archons. Now, how the Tsaritsa takes over for the prior Cryo Archon, we don't know. She could have killed them. It could have been peaceful. But what if she remembered the Seelies and everything, and the love that she had lost, and all these crimes that Celestia has committed, and the third descender was distributed to the Gnosis, and she was like, no more, took on the seat of Tsaritsa, and that is when she starts her war. A super interesting story. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you think the second descender is someone else, throw them in. As always, like and follow for more Genshin lore, and join the Discord.